Are we live? It's not connected yet. There we go. I think we're live now. Welcome to Redefining Entrepreneurship. I am Lori Conkler, and I'm here with Jamie and Mara, and we are here today to talk to you about something. Well, I know I've gotten some emails already from some of you, something that you're really curious about, and that is where or how you are leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table monthly in your business and how to shift it. And this is part one, I'm going to say that, of at least a two-part series. It might be more. We'll see. We'll see how it goes because we just started digging into more stuff before we even started today. So I have to share that. We're just like, ooh, that's such a good episode. So we're really excited to talk to you all today. So take a little deep breath and let's jump in. Okay, so I don't even know where to start. I feel like our conversation, I wish we could record our conversations before we actually go live because there's so much gold in those. Because I feel like we should just like continue our conversation that we were already having because it's such a good conversation. But we'll save that one for our next episode. So in terms of the where you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table, I know that we can each come up probably with three at least different areas where this is. So to where to start, because this comes into play. It comes into play in your operations and your marketing and how you're showing up. There's so much to this. And I know some of us have recently had some experiences too with this and just making some of these shifts that we're going to talk about today and how to unlock that next level for you. And it's much simpler than you guys really think. So where do you ladies want to jump in?
Oh, goodness. We could really start anywhere. I actually do a whole training on this, like finding the hidden money. Everyone leaves so much money on the table. But before we jump into the conversation, I don't want this conversation to make anyone feel bad that they're doing things wrong. Because I think some of these things you could be going, oh, but I'm doing that. Oh, but I'm doing that. Oh, I can't seem to do anything right. And I don't want those types of feelings to come up for anyone because all three of us right here can experience some of the same things. It is very natural when you own a business, when you are the CEO, as you're growing, different stages, to periodically fall into some of these habits or things that can leave money on the table. The point of all of this is for you to be conscious of what these things are and hopefully to be able to recognize it quicker than maybe you would have before, being able to analyze it, address it, and then move forward rather than just staying stuck.
Yeah. I want to actually interrupt you a little bit there, Mara, because I think this is one we actually really need to talk about. Because, yeah, to your point, absolutely. This isn't to say you're doing this wrong and to try to make you wrong, but it's also to try to simplify this process for you and really make you see how simple these shifts can be and making this money can be. And you're absolutely right, Mara, we do fall into this. I've recently fallen into these traps where you get sucked in, and a lot of it, I'm going to tell you, isn't necessarily about your strategy. Even though Mara and I both do a lot around strategy, it's more than that. It is the energy surrounding how you operate, the decisions you make, right? And that's Jamie, where you come in really heavily in how you make decisions and what you prioritize for yourself. And I think we'll give some of our own personal examples, honestly, of some recent things that have happened in our lives that really will just showcase how simple it is to make a shift that completely changes how much money you're making, how many clients are coming in, how your business is feeling and going for you, because it can be that simple. I wanted to kind of dive in first, though, if we can, to talk about the concept of, we have a few different talking points we want to touch on here, but the first one really was the concept of you have to spend more to make more. And this one's juicy and could be its own, I think, its own thing. But I want to kind of just bring it to the table and have a little conversation with all of our thoughts and feelings around this one. And also, just wanted to say, if you guys are here live, give us a live, say hello, let us know you're here. We're doing a replay, a hashtag replay. But so we've all heard this saying, right? You have to spend more to make more. So I'm just curious for you ladies, like, what are the thoughts and feelings around this for you now versus like maybe what they were a year ago, or 2 years ago, or Mara, when your first business, maybe, because I know maybe it's not the same as it was the first time around.
There is an element of spending to make more, but it's not a blanket statement that people like to make it out to be. This blanket statement, right? You just have to spend more to make more. Not necessarily. Sometimes it's reprioritizing your activities. Actually, you can spend the same amount of money and you're going to make more money. Sometimes it's reprioritizing things in your structure and marketing efforts and sales efforts and all of the things to align better for you, which I'm going to leave all of that to Jamie. Align more, to you. You could even spend less and make more money. I think the key is actually, if you're very strategic about the plan, you're very clear as to what the goal and the vision is, and then you can learn and develop your practice of aligning everything to you. And it's by being able to make those decisions in your business to know when an investment is the right piece of the puzzle, and when kind of reorganizing some things or spending less could be the right piece of the puzzle. And that's definitely where I think all three of us are definitely very passionate about using human design, but that is where I have seen in my own experience, but it is a practice of really being able to hone in on what those right decisions are. And that could mean making investment. It could mean that gut feel that I have is I have to slow down. I have to relook at things. I have to take time away right now. Like whatever that decision is really following what is right for you, and your body's actually going to tell you. I'm going to let you go into all that because she's phenomenal with all of this, and I'd love to hear her perspective.
Yeah, I would too. I have some thoughts too. Jamie, go ahead.
Sure. Okay, so I love that. So it's so interesting because the beginning of the journey for me when we think about spending more to make more was all I could see was spending money and time learning how to do the thing, right? How to have the business or be the coach. And it felt overwhelming, and it felt important that I spend those resources to get something, right? And then as I started to kind of mature in this entrepreneurial mindset, I realized that it really is important to be clear about what spending more to make more means. And so spending more time to create more time for my business, spending that will bring me resources that help me grow towards the focus that I have, spending energy on the right thoughts and belief, and practicing my skills. So it became more important to invest as I became clearer on what that meant. Because in the beginning, the investment feels important and big, and you can spend a ton of time and energy and money on things that don't actually help you grow. And then you could as you evolve and start to focus and hone in on what is so important to you, that inner trust on how we spend our time, money, and energy, I think becomes even more important, even though it feels so important in the beginning, it's like even more important because we start to realize how that creates the growth for us. And so when Mara, you were talking about alignment, I was thinking, oh yeah, in the beginning, I didn't know what alignment meant. I thought it meant aligning to the people that were doing it right and copying them and doing it their way, and then wondering why I didn't get the results that they were having, which was the $1 million, and I had been doing it for a week. Whereas now I'm understanding that, like, yes, I invest in coaches, I invest in resources and tools, I invest in different pieces to learn, and that they're all taking me to a common goal that I can actually see and feel now. And there's a reason behind it.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that perspective. Lori, I know you're chomping at the bit on this one too.
Yeah, I'm like putting a couple of notes here so I don't forget. But yeah, I do. I love that. And I think it, just kind of to carry on that. So I am going to talk a little bit more too about the idea of spending money, because I think that, I'm never going to be the person to say, like, you have to invest in this coach, you have to do that thing, and going on what you ladies said, it is important to feel into, like, does that feel like the right investment? Does that feel like the next right move? Is this right for me? And like really being in integrity with your spending. But I also think what happens for a lot of people, and I'm not talking like people who are brand new in their business, I'm talking like this happens at even higher levels, when people are making, what most people consider to be really good money. And, that some people spend like, oh, I have to get this coach, I have to do this. Like I have a coach that charges like $20,000 a month. And some people are like, if I hire her, I'm going to make millions like she does. But that's, to Jamie's point, that's not necessarily what happens. You're spending for the wrong reason. And you have to get to the root of, your own feelings and fears and the lack, because if you were afraid to spend money, that fear is going to just continue to multiply. And like that, when you're coming from that place of lack and fear, it's very hard to attract the kind of money that you want and the clients that you want. And, this is where I want to talk a little bit about some recent examples potentially too. But trusting yourself to make the right decisions for you in your business, knowing, like, if you know deep down that what you're doing is right, you have to trust that. And that includes spending your money, because if you don't trust your decisions, you're constantly going to be in that like fight or flight mode and the fear. And that's why, you hear people talking about you have to, step back sometimes and just like trust that it's going to work. And, I'm going to use one of my own examples recently. I was feeling a little stressed about working. I had a big week. I shared, with some of you that I had a big week last week, and the money that came in was frozen. It was a lot of money was frozen in my account because, Stripe decided that it was suspicious and all of those things that they have to do to figure it out. So I was really like going into like a place of lack, and well, what am I going to do if they don't give me my money, and like going into a worst case scenario, and like starting to like hoard my other money and be like, well, I can't spend this, I can't do that, and I can't make this deposit, I can't do that. And I'll tell you, yesterday, we're doing a retreat. Mara and I will be hosting that live in Bali later this year, November 3rd to 10th, by the way. But I was afraid to purchase and like put some of the down payments down because this money was being held. I'm like, well, I need to wait for it to come. But as soon as I let go of that fear of the lack of because what, I know that this freaking retreat is like, it's going to be amazing. I know it's what I'm meant to do, and everything in me, I can feel it. And I know it's the right decision to go forward with that. So I made the decision to pay the deposit, buy the other stuff, and like literally like within an hour, the money was unlocked, and it'll be deposited in your account tomorrow. Like, it's that simple, and it's that simple. I've had it happen with clients and income. And Jamie, I know you've had some recent epiphanies around this too while on vacation. To kind of just, if you want to share your story.
Yeah, well, before even that, I want to just like what you just said. Something came up for me, which is leaving money on the table and talking about this like in an investment space it's so much more than just like putting the money down, right? Like you didn't just consider your options and then throw money at the table. You like had this like internal focus, and you had a body trust, and you sat with your feelings, and you moved forward in a conscious way. And I just think that's so important, that no matter what investment we make, that we understand like the purpose behind it. So if we're throwing money at an external authority in hopes that it'll fix our confusion, there's probably a lot of or with the idea that we're confused and maybe this is the answer to not be confused, then there's going to be more confusion on the end. Like we've got to be purposeful with what we want that investment to bring us, and then go forward with that. And so like as you were saying, just I don't even know where that came from, but that is important to me.
I'm glad that you added that.
And so moving into that for me around what has happened for me, and the awareness this is brought up, is that I have just had my biggest money month ever as a coach, as an entrepreneur. And it came, most of that money and most of the decisions that like brought that money to me happened while I was on vacation, completely offline, doing zero like actual like face forward work in my business at all, not even checking phone notifications. And so I came back surprised, and then I got more surprised. And it was so interesting because what I realized was there was a little bit of a belief gap in between how that money might come and how much I needed to do with it. Because for the 3 months leading up to that vacation, I had been what felt like working so hard to try to find openness in bringing in income and growing my business and stepping into this next level that has just felt so here. And it didn't, nothing opened until I relaxed and let myself like be in my life and in my other pieces of my world, and the flow opened back up. And so, and part of my money investment has been in learning how to believe that I can let go, believe that it is easier, believe that I do have what it takes, and that I am providing value, and that it is enough so that I can close my eyes at night and be enough.
Yeah. Enough, being enough. That's a big one. That feeling of enoughness. Mara, did you have anything to add?
I mean, I could talk about this all day.
I know. I saw it before.
No, I think we've covered a lot of it, but the gist is, is really being able to know and trust those decisions that your body's telling you that you need to make. Trying to go work your way through the fear that can come along with leaning into that trust. And knowing that even if you've got it, sometimes you can go through other times where the fear sometimes overweighs what your body's telling you, or you can go through different periods where it doesn't feel as confident as maybe you did before. But this is normal. I mean, I can work with 7-figure business earners having some of the same fears and same things holding them back that those not even making 6 figures can have. It can happen at any point in time. This isn't, oh, hey, I'm making 7 figures. I have it all figured out now. No. It can come with a whole different set of circumstances and challenges and things that you need to work through. But the root of it is getting back to truly what the right decisions are for you. You leave less money on the table when you do that. Even if your body's telling you to make that 5-figure investment, because it is the right resource that you need to pull in. Sounds counterintuitive when we're like, oh, you're leaving money on the table and you're spending a lot of money too. If that is the right needle and the right thing that's going to move the needle forward, great. But if that is actually stepping back, and like Jamie on vacation and now had, her biggest month, more is not always more.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify too, we're not saying like, just like go on vacation and don't do any work, but but it is important to understand that you are enough, and you can make the money that you want in the ways that you want to, and it can be simple, and you don't have to work 80 hours a week. You don't have to be on networking calls 8 hours a day in order to get more clients and in order to do this. Like, what you're doing is generally enough, especially and I'm talking to those of you who are you're in your business, you're successful, you're making money, and to Mara's point, this happens at every level, and you can block yourself. Like, I know people that are making multiple 6-7 figures that will experience this like complete block of income, and then they take that step back, and then it just like bam, it blows up, and it's like, okay, I just had my highest month ever. I went from like $50,000 to $200,000 in a month. And I've seen that happen with people that I've worked with, and it's insane, that difference. So, and when it comes into your marketing and your operations, coming from that place of knowing and, just trusting yourself, trusting what feels right and what feels aligned for you, and going forward with that in your operation, in your marketing, in your sales, that's when it really starts to work. Because when you trust yourself, and I'm going to do the marketing piece now, like when you hear me talk a lot about messaging and owning your outcomes and your genius and talking to the right people, those things, when you are trusting yourself, when you're in alignment, when you trust yourself to say the things that people need to hear, you're going to actually say them. But if you don't have that level of self-trust, you are leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table because you're not putting out the things that are going to attract the people, right? You aren't relaxed. You're not allowing in the money that's like literally sitting right there waiting to come in, because you're out there trying to figure out how to get it to come in instead of trusting that the things that you're doing are enough. And that, maybe that feeling around that VA you hired or that client you're working with, that feels wrong, if you're ignoring that and you're just trying to push forward and do it anyway, that's going to block you. So yeah, I think that's a great point.
Well, and you want operationally, because that's where my sweet spot is. And this has come up for a lot of people in the last, I'd say 4 months that I've worked with, probably even more so than I have seen. There's a lot of, so I know this is probably going to resonate with a lot of you out there. It can feel like, oh, we need to scramble, and I need to do more, and I need to make sure this is perfect, and I need to execute this, and I need to add this to the table. We kind of go into this mode of obsessing over the detail and obsessing over doing more and making sure it's right. And while I'm not saying those things aren't important, sometimes that is actually going to hold you back, rather than recognizing, oh, it might be time. Let me just take a step back. Let me reassess the entire picture. Let me reassess really what are the priority things I need to focus on. And maybe making sure that those graphics are perfect, and spending hours following up with the person trying to help you and they're not coming through. Is that really make or break it in your business? It's probably not. We fixate on it because we think it is at that point in time. It's what we can dive in and try to control. And I'll love Jamie's perspective on this one, but it's because there's a lot of reasons some of this comes up for people. Different designs, different fears that get activated, all of that. But there is a lot of this going around right now for folks that it's, I had the sales and now I don't. Like, what do I do? I need the sales to do this. I need the money coming in to do this. What do I do? Some will throw more money at things. It's not necessarily the right answer. Some just dive deep into obsessing over the detail. Again, not probably the priority activity at that particular point in time. Maybe not. Figure that out later, right? Imperfect action, consistent imperfect action is better than no action, right? So I just want to point that out. I know this is going on for a lot of people right now at all different levels, let me tell you, at all different levels.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I have clients that literally are making like some of them $0 a month right now. And then I have some clients that are making hundreds of thousands a month. And it's absolutely at every level. The way they talk about it, the way they look at it, perceive it might be a little bit different, but the same things are happening. And the secret isn't, that if you just make more, you're going to fix all the problems, right? And that's part of that mentality. Like that's actually part of what blocks the money from coming in, but it's more that you can make more money. And where was I going with this? Hold on, I was looking at Mara and I totally lost it. We're real people, humans. We lose our temper. So
we are.
I don't know what I was going to say about that.
Well, I've got something then because it's all coming up for me.
Amy's chomping at the bit on this one.
You jump in if it comes back. But something, Mara, what you were saying is just so, I think, important. Where I come in with the human design and alignment piece is that what can happen is we have such a resistance to feeling these negative feelings. And so that resistance, feeling that confusion, that frustration, that whatever comes up in my business is like on hold right now, or something's not moving forward, makes us want to look out and find out what's wrong and what can we throw money, time, or energy out to fix so that it doesn't feel that way, and how can we make it perfect, and how can we XYZ buffer or avoid to not feel that. And then we still have that feeling underneath, whether we make more money or not. And then we're still left with dealing with that feeling and figuring out what else to invest in to not feel that feeling, rather than feeling that feeling, taking a deep breath and going, crap, I hate feeling disappointed. And if I do this wrong, I'm going to feel disappointed. What do I need to support myself? Because I'm going to have to feel it, right? Like that's where we forget. And we start going into this outer world of fix, do, blah, 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 which is important, but only once we are understanding that we need to be able to tolerate the feelings and trust our bodies that the feelings are telling us things and they're not the reason that we're doing it wrong. So I just find that I feel like we're all talking about this and it's so important, but there's a maturity there when you go, damn, I hate being scared. And I'm scared right now and I'm doing it. Damn, I hate being disappointed. And I'm going to be disappointed if this goes wrong, but I got to do it imperfectly and find out what's wrong.
Yes.
And that investment piece gets us to do, we can do that. Like when I spent my first $5,000 on a coach, I was having an internal heart attack for a while, and then I did it, and then I learned that you could spend money and grow yourself, and that other people could do that and get that benefit. Like it gave me so much more learning or growing or succeeding, but it's something that's never a wrong decision when we invest. But we have to believe that and do that and have that true for us.
Yeah, love it. Definitely love that. Yeah,
absolutely. So I want to talk, one of the things that we said we were going to talk about, which I think we've really already touched on, but is those 3 things that you can do right now to really to shift your income. And like I said, this is going to be a multi-part series, and don't get me wrong, we're going to probably talk some strategy too, because Mara and I, we're a combination of, what our friend Jana would say, the woo and the do, right? Here. The things that we can do to shift your income. It's not, work 5 hours more a day. It's not, make sure that you have 5 more coffee chats on your calendar. Like if that feels aligned, fine. Like I'm not telling you not to do those things, but it's to trust yourself, and it's not go invest, in that $10,000 a month coach. It might be, but don't do it for the wrong reason. So I think really, there's a few different things that we've talked about, and I think some of them that we can go into more, but really shifting your energy around what's going on and your feelings and your beliefs, and getting clear on your true desires, and connecting to that and being able to trust yourself. So that was one. That was a really long one, right? Trust yourself and listen to what your body is telling you, because it's trying to tell you something. And that is where you've heard those crazy stories of, I actually just finished listening probably for the 4th time to the book, You're a Badass at Making Money. And, where she invested in an $80,000 coach, right? You know, like that's it. That for some of you that might be like insane. For some it's like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. But for a lot of people, that's a really big investment to make, and it's like it can seem impossible. Like, I know that person is the person to help me, and then you feel like resentment because you can't do it. But no, like if you actually trust that that person is the right person to help you, you're going to be shown the way to actually come up with that money to make it happen. So being in that place, the fear, you know, the doubt, where you're not trusting yourself, that's blocking the money that you want from coming in. So whether it's coming in from clients, whether it's coming in from your Edna, you know, whether wherever it's coming from, it is about those decisions and trusting them and trusting yourself. And I've pushed against this for years because I am very much a strategy person. And if I can't see the how, like for many years, it was just like, no, that's just not real. And that absolutely has blocked me in the past from making a lot of money as fast as I want to, because I had to figure it out the hard way. So that was one. I think, you know, we really touched on to the working less. And Jamie is a prime example of what happens when you do that.
Yeah, I don't think I said this, but I'm just going to say it because it's so real. That I didn't just have my biggest month. I did more than half of last year's income in that week. And it's still going. I got more coming in today unexpectedly. So I have now, as of today, almost doubled my last year's income in this last 30 days, including my vacation. And this was not expected. This was not like, oh, I anticipate a bunch of yeses coming through in this one time. It was, holy crap, I've been working really hard and now things are showing up. Oh yeah, I better remember that I've had this belief for myself. So didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think it's perfect.
Like, this is real. This isn't like, oh, I made a couple $100 that I wasn't expecting. This was like a game changer of relaxing and understanding enough and giving my body, my soul, my brain, and my people the time and availability to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the third one that I wanted to point out here too is one that we haven't really touched on, and I think this will be I got some celebrations there for Jamie. Jamie, way to go. Hey, bloody well done. That must be someone from the UK.
Sarah.
Yep, Sarah, you're in the UK. I love it. You know, the one that we haven't really talked about that we might go into a little bit more is the concept of owning your outcomes. And it does come back to trusting yourself. And for a lot of you, this is something that I'm very passionate about on the marketing and sales side of things, is actually owning the fact that you're a badass, brilliant business person at whatever you do, and talking about it, showing up that way, because you oh, sorry, I'm laughing. Sarah said, oops, sorry, I never swear. I just meant it was UK because in the US we don't say bloody, but I have not said that you're swearing at all, Sarah. Let me say that. I swear a lot, kind of like a sailor sometimes. So I love it. But yeah, like the owning your outcomes when it comes to like the sales and marketing piece, it comes with all of these things that we talked about. When you're trusting yourself, when you trust your decisions, when you trust the moves that you're making and what you're doing is enough. And actually that you're doing enough. I mean, I want to make sure that that's clear, but owning the value of what you do and the outcomes that you bring it, when that comes through, all of these things culminate into your sales and marketing, and that energy when you put it out there is magnetic. It really, really is. And then you know, harness that energy and put it out into your messaging. It absolutely calls people back in. So those were the three things that I had in mind that you could do right now to shift your income. So shift your energy, your belief, right? Work less like Jamie, take a vacation. Maybe that's the thing that you need to invest in. Yes, by the way.
Could be.
It doesn't mean that it's a coach. It doesn't mean it's new software. You know, it might be hiring a housekeeper. It might be going on vacation, whatever that is. But work less and invest in the things that allow you to trust yourself and just own your freaking brilliance, because you are a badass, and you can be a badass at making money. So I love that book and just finished listening to it. So,
yeah.
Any thoughts, ladies? I kind of went on a little rant there.
No, I mean, I think probably my 3 are going to mirror a lot of what you already brought up, but it's really, I think taking a step back to really assess what are you going for? Like committing to yourself to taking the time away. And I'm not talking about, it could be a vacation. It could just be a half a day where you go disconnect, really kind of go deep in yourself and reflect, and getting really in touch with you, getting clear on what it is you're trying to do. You know you're good at what you do, but sometimes the whole business part of things can make you question and can make you wonder sometimes. But if you step back and you know deep down inside, get back in touch with the badass you that knows you know what you're doing, right? Get clear on your vision. Yes, strategy can come in for you to be able to move forward, but it's really that work beforehand. We can't move forward with any type of strategy or any type of follow our feeling in our body unless you're actually in touch with it.
Absolutely.
And so I do see this going on a lot right now, that we're so caught up in all of this, the stuff and the things, and we're not coming back to us and getting very grounded, why we started this, what's changed. And it's okay if that brings up feelings of, and this might open a whole nother can of worms for another episode. It's okay if things come up when you step back that go, this isn't really what I want anymore. And it may be time for a big pivot, because that may be where the energy is coming from that is blocking you from doing what you want to do and blocking you from making the money
Absolutely
that you deserve for what you're doing. So I don't know that that's really a top 3, but I just want to expand a little bit more.
Things in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I agree with Lori, I think, but really beginning work of being willing to stop.
Yeah.
Stop. It is not going to kill you. It is not going to stop the money from rolling in. It can actually be the one thing that you can do that will start the money coming in. And then you've got to follow where that takes you. I mean, I've helped a lot of clients here lately where there's one currently completely reformatting her business model. What she thought she wanted, there's parts that are great. She's tried it. She's been successful. It's not lighting up her heart anymore.
Yeah.
So we're changing how she is structuring it. And guess what? The money's rolling in.
Yeah. You did that with me too.
I did. You're another example. You have to be willing to take the time away and step back. And you can do it multiple times. This is not I'm going to take this one time, step back, I'm going to figure it all out, and then everything's going to be great. You have to be willing to continually do this throughout your journey.
And honestly, I'm going to say daily, because you can't go on vacation daily, but you can take a 5-minute vacation daily, whatever that is for you, where you're completely unplugged, whether it's you're on a walk and there's no music, there's nothing in your ear, or whether it's, meditation, whether, whatever that thing is for you, to just, whether it's gardening and just getting really into what you're doing for 5 minutes, allowing yourself that time and space away opens up so much. I mean, that could be the top 3. Just say that 3 times, really, because all of the other things are going to follow, and the strategy is going to follow. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love this. Someone just commented, I'm not sure, that you've done this today with the package.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah. You've done this today with the package. It's the text that blocks you, but you started at the right point. You started by stepping back. You started about, looking at things. It's very heart-based, but the investment may come to get the tech support so that the entire process feels easy.
Yeah, which might be what actually explodes that offer and makes it sell like crazy, because you took the pressure off of yourself to go out and get it done.
Yeah, because that is actually going to block you if you continue trying to do the things that you aren't meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where sometimes spending money does help you make more money, but it's a very aligned and strategic way of doing that.
Oh, you just brought up something that, and this may be more of a beginner thing, but I think this might hit at every level. But that's such a perfect example for Sarah of that. Yeah, you could invest at that point. You could invest in learning how to be a tech expert. You could invest in an outsourced person. You could invest in, I mean, there's so many areas. And this is where like trusting ourselves to get out of should and find out what's right for the investment. It matters. Like knowing what it is, outsourcing, knowledge, whatever, that it's not, oh, I should be better at tech. It's, I've got an amazing package. I'm about to like kick butt for a whole bunch of clients. I can't wait until these people got it. What's the obstacle and what do I need? What do I need to be supported through that obstacle? So great job, Sarah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Awesome. Because it looks different for different people. And I'll get off my high horse in just a second. But it looks different for different people. Yes, this is coming from a total ops thing. This is why I use human design with what I do, because something that is typically very systemized and cookie cutter and this is what works, I know this works, it's not necessarily the case for everybody. And you have to be able to go in, figure out what is truly right for you, dig deep down, like what's the true solution. And then be able to call in the right resource. Because like you said, Jamie, it could be that course on learning how to do it, or it could be outsourcing on someone to do it. If you outsource, there's different ways that outsourcing can look. Like there's so many different options nowadays. It actually causes, I think, people to freeze because they don't even know what option to choose. But that's why coming back to center and really getting in touch with that makes those decisions a whole lot easier. And makes even putting together a strategy a whole lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take a moment right now to do a little bit of a plug because this is what you're saying there, Mara. It's exactly what we're going to be kind of going into. I mean, all of us, like mine, well, you can book integrative coaching packages with all of us if you want, where it includes all of us. We also have one other lady that can be involved in that includes a health aspect. But the upcoming CEO in Flow retreat in Bali that we're doing, this is exactly the kind of work that we're going to be doing, is really bringing you back to that. Like, we're going to help you create the strategy and the plan, but we're going to do all of this work to really uncover what it is for you that needs to happen, so that you can have more flow, so that you can make shitloads more money on vacation, so that you can do all of these things in the most aligned possible way and just completely like explode your income. So if that is something you're interested in, it's officially available. We don't have the sales page and everything up yet, but if you're interested, early bird pricing is open, so you can absolutely get in on that. And of course, if you want this whole integrative approach now and you don't want to wait until a retreat, message us as well, and we can talk about what that might look like for you.
Yeah. Speaking of imperfect action, our sales page isn't up yet, but we believe in this so much, it's not stopping us.
Exactly.
Yes. And had we waited, we wouldn't have already had our first sign up. So spots are actually going to go pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's only 10 available.
Yeah, there's only 10 available, and we've barely just mentioned it. And one spot's already gone. So if you're waiting on that sales page for an offer that you really know is the right thing, don't wait.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Because just making the decision yourself, as we've explained in this, we actually set it up for this, but I'll say, like, if that's the thing that's feeling right, don't wait. Follow your gut, do what's right, because that may be the thing that unlocks all of the money for you. Just
I have a very quick, funny story about that. So I did a group program a year ago. It was my very first group program. I was terrified to move from one-on-one to group, and what would anybody really want it? And I had to have the perfect sales page. And I'm just going to say it this way. I accidentally sold 5 spots into the group before my person that I paid to do my sales page did the sales page. And I only wanted 5 people. So I never used that sales page. I never once used it because I had 5 people in before I even got it ready. And that was the day I realized, oh, for me, sales pages are not the reason I won't get clients. Like, I've got to check that one off of my belief list right now. So good example, Lori.
Good. And yes, sales page, never the reason. I have another client who literally in one session together, we decided, because that had blocked her from selling, to just scrap the sales page. And within 3 days, she had filled 10 spots in her program. So yeah, like following what feels right for you. So
my entire agency side was built out of my gut reaction.
Yeah.
Didn't even know I was going to have an agency. Totally built. I have no sales. I still to this day have no sales pages for anything that I do.
Yeah. Mine are usually an afterthought. I actually, for my membership, I finished the sales page a week before I decided to discontinue the membership. I never used it.
Yeah. So didn't plan on that being the lesson today. However, I feel like this is a very important lesson, and it's just one small little piece. A sales page could mean anything for any one of you, but that little thing that you're going, I have to get this right, and I have to do this before I can even talk about what it is that I'm doing and talk about what it is that I'm selling. Screw it. Go talk about what you do. Go tell people why you're a badass. Yep. Why they should work with you, why they need your help with an offer. I feel like you're going to surprise yourself.
Yeah. So either verbally say it or write it and contact.
Yeah, that one thing that was so important that was holding you back for like weeks, or in Lori's case, months. And then canned the offer because it wasn't the right offer.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. We had to go back a little deeper with you. Go back to center.
Mm-hmm.
And she's now blowing it out of the water. Right? Same thing with Jamie. Go on vacation, get away, get back to center, blowing it out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds counterintuitive to a lot of you, but it's not. You're going to, a lot of months. Yeah, you're not alone, right? A lot of people will let the little details hold them back.
Yeah. Yes, and I know we've said we were going to end so many times. So I just want to say, if you ever want to know why that is, it might be related to your human design a little bit too. So reach out. I'm not the human design person, but Jamie is. And
Jamie is.
Get to look at that.
We'll figure out where you're reacting, where you're responding, and get you right on the road to strategy.
Yeah. Okay, we could go on forever. Our next one, let's say it is April 22nd, right? Is our next episode, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Let me just double check. So that is, what month am I in here? I don't know. There'll be an event coming out for it. No.
I think it's April 18th.
18th. I would have been 4 days late for our next live. So it's April 18th.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
We'll see that more information coming out, but that is going to be part 2 of this conversation.
Yes, definitely some juicy things. It could be whether it's that one or it could be another one in the very near future. Talking about working with the wrong people.
Yeah.
How you avoid it. Yeah, it's a very juicy one. And well, hell, that could be a 2-parter in its own. But how you avoid it, how you work through it, how you deal with it, all of those juicy details. So make sure you guys tune in next time.
Okay. We will see you all next time. And again, reach out if you want your design or you want to go to Bali with us. We'll talk to you soon.